We've got another massive golf event here for the PGA Tour, the Tour Championship that is going to be held in Atlanta at East Lake Golf Club. We're going to be breaking down Ginger Joe's picks on today's episode. Before we get into it, please make sure you subscribe and head on over to thesportsgeek.com to sign up for the Beat the Geek contest, which is free to sign up, and you get an opportunity to win an NFL trip for two. We had an awesome, I can't claim we. You had an awesome pick last week, Joe, on our video that we did for the BMW Championship. You called out Wyndham Clark, so obviously I have to acknowledge the fantastic analysis that you did on our last preview, and hopefully that momentum carries over into this week.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. It's been a few weeks since Wyndham Clark had won the US Open. Now, that was my sort of last winner on the golf. So I was really hopeful last week that we were going to get some sort of result. Thankfully, we did. And I owe a lot to Wyndham Clark, Joe. I've been on him for all 6 of his PGA Tour wins. And the shortest price he's been at the time is 33-1. We've had him up to 100-1 as well. But it was an incredible performance. I don't understand why he isn't getting the recognition he deserves, especially when you look at the betting as well. We've got players like Ludwig Aberg up there, hasn't won an event for God knows how many years. You've got Patrick Cantlay, hasn't won for years. Justin Thomas, they're always shorter than Wyndham Clark. It makes no sense, Joe. But he's into about 16-1 this week, and I think this is the price that he should have been for a long period of time now. It's just he's finally getting maybe some recognition, but maybe that won't be his final win of the season. He's still got time for a little bit more, I think.
So things are starting to narrow down before we get into breaking down that potential Clark pick for the Tour Championship. Things are starting to really narrow down for the FedEx Cup. Top 30 players are remaining in the standings for this specific event. Before we get into your 2 picks, can you just let us know what bettors should be expecting from this course in Atlanta and how maybe it could impact the performance of some of the top golfers?
Yeah, like you said, Joe, we've got a 30-man strong field this week. But what I like as well, in particular this year, Joe, is that they've got rid of the starting stroke scenario that we have had in the Tour Championship for many years. Finally, they have done the right thing. And we do now just have a straight 72-hole shootout, no starting strokes, the FedEx Cup final, $10 million up for grabs for the first prize, and that is just really how it should be. But East Lake, very different test to what we've seen in recent weeks. It measures 7,440 yards as a par 70. Ultimately, Joe, I'm looking at players that can handle the demands of this course, but more importantly, I do want proven winners. You just take a look at the history of the Tour Championship. It's not a place where you're going to really find yourself a surprise winner. So I want a player that has got a proven sort of winning pedigree, done well in majors, because it's unlikely that you're going to have a surprise winner here, like I said. So I've only got a small 2-man squad, but I think that's all we're going to need, just like last week, and hopefully we can find ourselves in the winners' enclosure. But you want proven class players this week, Joe. Outside of the majors, this is one of the most prestigious, certainly with regards to the monetary value of the event as well. So, I'm not trying to cause any upsets here. We've got 2 strong contenders this week.
So for that first pick that you like here for the Tour Championship, Rory had a really, really great weekend for the BMW Championship. He ended up finishing tied for 3rd. And he's been solid, but a bit up and down this year on the tour. Why do you like him as that first pick?
But he's had a really interesting season, like you said. He won that Masters, and then you sort of question, what are you playing for now, Rory? What are your ambitions for the season? And the way it has panned out does sort of suggest a similar scenario, because I don't really know where his motivation has been, but it's quite rare that I actually tip Rory McIlroy, but I do feel like this is potentially the side to be, the week to be with him. And last week at the BMW, we were fortunate enough, obviously, to be on the winner. But for a long time on that Sunday, it did feel like Rory McIlroy was chasing down Wyndham. And I had a feeling that may have actually been what was going to be the final outcome. But the reason I mention this is because a week before the BMW last week, Rory had publicly made everyone aware that he'd lost something in his golf swing. He was really struggling with his game. He said he had no chance coming into the BMW last week. And for that reason, he ended up drifting out to 20-1, but finished obviously second to Wyndham Clark. And it just shows, Joe, golf is such an up and down game. From one game to the next, you could play really well. You could shoot 5 under and then 10 over. That is just the way golf goes. Now, if we go back 2 weeks, there was a 20-odd different shot overall score over the 72 holes between Rory and McIlroy. We discussed it on the podcast last week, but that has reversed. Obviously, last week Rory was superb out of nowhere. And I think he's actually going to use that sort of motivation in a real positive light for this tournament. I think going in, to the event feeling really unconfident in your game and not really sure where the ball's sort of finishing, it really does give you question marks in your own game. But the fact he played so well, I think that'll almost double down on the fuel for the Tour Championship this week. As long as he doesn't start too slow, I find it hard to see him being too far away. This is a real ball striker's golf course. This is exactly the sort of place that Rory should thrive on. And like I said, he's not a popular pick for me, really, most weeks, but he's got everything going for him. Win only bet, of course, but Rory is one of the 2 picks for this week. Yeah.
So you can grab him at plus 950. He's got the second best odds to win the Tour Championship this weekend. And of course, we've alluded to this multiple times. Your other pick that you like is Wyndham Clark at plus 1,600 odds. He's third right now in the FedExCup Championship, which is, as you've stated, odd that he's not getting a little bit more love as maybe even a higher favorite for this event. He's got 3 wins this season. He's coming off of that BMW Championship. What is your motivation for backing Wyndham Clark again?
Yeah, well, look, he's finally the right price in the market. That needs to be mentioned first. Sort of around 16-1 is definitely where his golf actually, his better form would lead him to be. But it's unbelievable that he's had so much disrespect this year. He's won his second major. He's won 3 titles so far. He's got a chance now of winning the Tour Championship. For me, if he wins this week, he is absolutely the golfer of the year. And even if he doesn't, he is still there in a massively strong contention for the golfer of the year. But as mentioned, Joe, that's 6 times now that I've sort of tipped Wyndham Clark, and he's won on all 6. So why not try and make it 7? We've got an event, obviously, like the Tour Championship. And as mentioned, you need to have a player that's a proven winner or, got caliber to be a major champion. This year, he's landed the Byron Nelson. He won the US Open. He's now won the BMW Championship, one of the FedEx events. No reason why he can't add another event to his resume this year. I won't go over his game again because I have been on repeat about how he had the one poor year. He adopted a draw into his game, but he's come back absolutely firing. And this is the shortest price he's been now for a long, long time, but definitely where he should be. For me, he's almost sort of replacing like Victor Hovland of a couple of years ago. When you're trying to find someone that's going to be up there able to compete with Rory and Scottie Scheffler, for me, Wyndham has now proven that is to be the case. He's a class act. Player, like he said, doesn't get the recognition he deserves, but I think that's going to change after this week, Joe. He's shorter again in the market, 16-20. He owes me and my followers nothing. Happy to be on side with him again this week, especially when you've got players like Ludwig Aberg who can't even win a tournament around the same price. It's scandalous. The bookie's been generous for Wyndham for a long time. Not so much this week, but we will still take a 16-1 winner if so.
We'll see what happens here for the Tour Championship. 2 more fantastic picks from Ginger Joe. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on remaining picks that we'll be doing through the rest of this year after the Tour Championship. We'll catch you guys next week. Enjoy the rest of your week.